14.3 Salt. Water and salt reabsorption and secretion are highly variable, and it depends upon your intake of water, intake of salt, activity levels, how much you're perspiring, various things. Just alongside the glomerulus, it's actually between the afferent and efferent arteriole, there is a small group of cells called the Juxtaglomerular Apparatus. Juxta means beside, so beside the glomerulus. The juxtaglomerular apparatus monitors blood volume, also blood pressure. Remember, these are very closely associated with one another. And so if the blood pressure gets too low, blood volume or blood pressure gets low, there is a hormone that is produced called aldosterone, and aldosterone causes the kidney tubules to increase sodium reabsorption. Well, then it's simply osmosis. Water follows salt. If we reabsorb more sodium back into the blood, water is passively going to follow sodium through osmosis. This is going to increase blood volume and consequently will increase blood pressure. So water simply follows the salt. There is another hormone that opposes aldosterone. This hormone is atrial natriuretic hormone. Atrial because it's produced by some cells in the atrium of the heart. Natri means sodium. Uretic refers to the kidneys. So if blood pressure gets too high, the atrial natriuretic hormone is released, and that's going to increase sodium excretion. We're going to remove more sodium, take that from the blood into the filtrate. Again, water is going to follow salt, and so if we increase sodium excretion, we're going to increase water excretion. That's going to decrease blood volume and decrease blood pressure. There's another hormone involved in controlling water reabsorption, antidiuretic hormone. This is produced by the pituitary gland. Antidiuretic hormone targets the kidney tubules, and it causes the kidney tubules to increase water reabsorption. So if this is a way to conserve water, so if you're out, for example, on a hot day, you're perspiring, you're not drinking enough water, the pituitary gland is going to secrete more antidiuretic hormone. You're going to reabsorb more water to conserve water. Consequently, you will have very, very concentrated urine. One of the other functions of the urinary system that we mentioned was acid-base balance, or maintaining the pH. pH is the concentration of proton. Two body systems are involved in controlling blood pH. It is the urinary system and the respiratory system. So if you study either system, you will see this same formula. Carbon dioxide, if we begin over here on the left, carbon dioxide dissolves in the water of blood plasma to form carbonic acid. And carbonic acid is a weak acid, and it will dissociate into a bicarbonate ion and a proton. So if we're trying to control that proton concentration, the kidneys, over on the right-hand side of this formula, the kidneys can secrete more or less proton to control pH. But also the lungs can assist in this because we can alter our respiratory rate. And by altering the respiratory rate, we can blow off more or less carbon dioxide. And so the reason that we have arrows going in both directions is because this entire formula can be shifted left or right. We can shift, we can act in the lungs, or we can act on the kidneys. And in either case, it's going to change that proton concentration. So blood pH is very critical. This is a very narrow range. We typically say the pH of blood is 7.4, really a range of 7.35 to 7.45, which is a very narrow range, is where the pH of blood must be maintained.